Charges of sexual assault rocked the Philippine Air Force last month after two of its personnel filed complaints against their superior. The officer, who is of star rank, was charged with rape and attempted rape and has been relieved from his post and placed under the restrictive custody of the Air Force. According to AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Cercis Trinidad, they have conducted an initial investigation and found prima facie evidence to recommend court-martial proceedings against the defendant. The Justice Department, for its part, said they will look into the case and ensure a fair and swift handling of these complaints. We reached out to the Philippine Air Force about this matter, but in a message sent to the Big Story, acting spokesperson Colonel Ritza Ann Jovellanos declined our invitation for an interview last week. Her staff member said the case is now in progress and the officer would rather not comment on the matter to avoid prejudicing or influencing the outcome of the proceedings.
And joining us tonight on the Big Story is Attorney Nico Robert Martin. Attorney Martin is representing the Air Force personnel in this case. Welcome to the Big Story, Attorney Martin.
Hi, good evening, Ma'am Ces. Good evening to our host and to everyone who is tuning into our show.
We understand that the two personnel have already returned to work, to their duties.
Yes, ma'am. They have. I think they told me that they were given a 10-day reprieve last February. So February pa po yun, no? February they were given a 10-day wellness break, and right after they returned to work already. As of the moment, they are reporting for duty, just like how good soldiers are trained to do, ma'am.
And how is the case proceeding? When will it be heard?
Actually, we have not heard about anything with regard to the progress of the case. As far as we know officially, the last pleading that we submitted with regard to the court-martial case is that we submitted a memorandum before the Office of the Judge Advocate General of the AFP.
Okay.
And from media reports, we learned that the JAGO, or the Judge Advocate General, has already submitted its recommendation to the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, and it is awaiting for the approval of the Chief of Staff. With regard to the case that we filed before the Office of the City Prosecutor of Lipa City, Batangas, we were given a schedule already. So we have our first hearing that is scheduled already. Again, we are under preliminary investigation stage with regard to the complaint that we filed against the General.
Okay. Attorney, there's a court-martial, right? So a lot of people might not be familiar that this case is actually being heard in two courts. One, the court-martial, which is the internal court system of the AFP, and one, like you said, the Lipa Regional Trial Court. Can you explain, in layman's terms, ano yung pagkakaiba nitong dalawa and bakit kailangan mag-file sa dalawang korte pa?
Okay, so it's not yet the court, it's not yet pending with the Lipa Court. Still pending with the Office of the City Prosecutor.
It could be junked. It could be junked.
It could be junked. It could be junked at the prosecutor's level, right? The reason why it's with the Office of the Prosecutor is for it to determine whether we have sufficient evidence to file it before our regular courts. Okay, so I was asked a while ago about why two separate cases? Because the complainants in this case are both military personnel and also citizens of the Republic, right? So they have two remedies provided to them by law on how to redress what happened to them. First, they can go to court-martial. The military has its own justice system, okay? So the accuser, who is with the Office of the Judge Advocate General, charged the respondent with violations of Article 96 and 97 of Articles of War, over which all military personnel are subjected to. That is conduct unbecoming of an officer, of a gentleman, conduct unbecoming the general article, but also as citizens of the Republic, as ordinary citizens. We can also file a separate criminal case before the Office of the City Prosecutor. This time, it's not punished under the Articles of War, but it's punished under the revised penal code, under our general laws.
Attorney, but can you just give us more details about the nature of the allegations made by your clients? And do you think there is strong evidence to support their claims?
Well, for us, as we are advocates, we wouldn't file a case if we do not see that there is enough evidence, like what the PNP or what the Air Force has said, I cannot comment. I apologize, but I will not comment on the merits of the case so as not to prejudice the outcome of the case.
But attorney, what's the conviction rate for high military officials in the Philippines?
I don't know. I was told, this is not confirmed, but I was told, no, we were informed that this happens to be the first reported sexual assault case of a male, no, against another male in the armed forces.
It's a first of its kind.
I heard. That's what again, I have not confirmed.
We
were told. It's the first male to male, no, with sexual assault that's been reported and where cases have been filed.
You mentioned that the JAGO, Judge Advocate General's office, is waiting for the Chief of Staff's signature for the court-martial proceedings to begin. When was this submitted to the CS, the Chief of Staff?
Actually, we do not know. I'm just communicating what we heard from news reports. Actually,
should not that be communicated to you as a lawyer?
There's no official communication to us yet about the matter. Actually, when we filed our memorandum, the case has been submitted for decision. Now, the JAGO, on the basis of the evidence that we presented and on the basis of the evidence that the respondent has presented, has made its recommendation. We do not know. Nobody knows what the recommendation is. And it is up for the discretion and the judgment of the Honorable Chief of Staff whether that recommendation is going to be upheld or whether it's going to be reversed. So the question there is whether we are proceeding or whether we are going to proceed to trial, no, to court-martial, to try the respondent in this case. That
As a lawyer, should you not know?
Well, we will know. We definitely will be informed of the final decision. But this is we call it the deliberative process privilege, no? Maybe they have their own discussions. We will be informed of the final decision of the Chief of Staff, definitely.
Okay, let me try and understand lang. You're saying no more hearings. The decision has been rendered. Is that correct?
The recommendation. There are three stages. There are three stages. Apparently, in the military justice system, there are three stages. Number one, the first stage is it undergoes preliminary investigation also of a different office in the AFP. It's called the Office of Ethics. No, they have an ethics office, and they will have to submit their recommendation with the JAGO. They already did, and the recommendation of the OESPA is to charge. No, according to them, there is prima facie evidence to charge the general with violation of Article 96 and 97 articles so far. The next step is for the JAGO to make its own recommendation by studying the evidence that we have presented before them and the evidence which was presented by the general before them. They are supposed to make a recommendation which they will file, which they already did with the Office of the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. Now, the Chief of Staff, which according to law is the convening authority of a general court-martial, has the discretion on whether to uphold the recommendation of the JAGO or not.
I see. But you don't also know the date this was submitted to the CS, because at least you can track, like it's taking 2 months, it's taking too long, you don't know the date.
We have not been formally informed by the AFP about it.
Attorney Nico, to step away from all the legalities, you're right. As far as I know, this is also the first case where it's like a male superior, male subordinate, and the two subordinates were actually brave enough to step out, kind of, and tell the world that, that this actually happened. What kind of, kumbaga, ano bang hinahanap nila? They, obviously justice, right? But is it also to kind of raise awareness that this sort of thing actually happens inside the AFP? Can you tell us about that parang civilian, more like human interest aspect of this case?
Yeah, of course. Like what I said in previous interviews, all they want is justice. All they want is for the truth to come out. They know that it's going to be a long and arduous process because, testifying, because you relive those moments, right? You relive those moments. And it's very traumatizing for them to relive those moments. But they believe that justice must be had, the truth must come out, that these things it can happen to everybody, that we must be always on guard. It can happen to me, it can happen to you. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer or a soldier, it can happen to everyone. So they are trying to also, aside from the vindication of their rights, of course, they are trying to raise that kind of awareness also. Also, I would like to mention, I don't think I have mentioned this previously, my clients would also like to thank the Supreme Court of the Republic because they were able to access legal representation through the newly promulgated resolution of the Supreme Court on free legal aid. So we are rendering free legal aid to them.
You mean you?
You.
You're as their attorney.
Yes. Our law firm is rendering free legal aid to them. ULAS, the Unified Legal Aid Service Rule of the Supreme Court, which mandates all lawyer to provide legal aid service, free legal aid service to everyone who is in need and who is qualified under the resolution that the Supreme Court issued.
Did they mention to you if they know of other cases but who kept their silence?
I don't know if I can disclose this, but after this has surfaced, through media, there are actually a number of people who approach us, who is trying to I cannot disclose the merits, but who is saying that they have also been victimized by this kind of behavior. We are assessing.
In the military.
In the military.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is this has opened up sort of a can of worms and an opportunity for others who have suffered
Or
such.
emboldened others to come out because of these two,
That's what appears to me.
Yeah. Another thing, so they've gone back to work and apparently matagal na pala because 10 days lang ang binigay. How has it been for them? Do you know? Would you know as their lawyer? Are they treated the same or has it been difficult,
Right after the incident, they consulted a professional psychiatrist to diagnose them. And they were diagnosed with stress disorder and depression. Well, we are assuming that it is because of the incident that happened to them. And right now they are seeking for professional help for therapy sessions, which they are paying for on their own.
They're paying for the therapy sessions on their own?
Yes, they are.
Isn't there an
I don't
avenue
know.
for that within the
Walang
military,
libre.
attorney?
Yeah.
Well,
Oo nga.
I'm not aware of that, but according
There-
to
Maybe
should
that
be.
we can ask that of the Air Force spokesperson because it's not about the case.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
should they not, as their lawyer, what do you say to that? Should the Air Force not be providing this service for free?
Well, according to the Air Force, I read a statement that they offered my clients these sessions, legal representation, and even medical, psychological therapy sessions. I read that in the news, but according to the news article itself also, my clients refuse and they want to seek their own legal representation and they want to get their own doctor who would provide
I see.
this
Okay.
therapy sessions for them.
All right.
From what you know, are there other incidents involving the accused?
I am not
Aside
aware
from-
of such, but as I said, there are some others who approached us, bringing their case to us. But right now, we are still assessing. We are still assessing because we cannot just accept everything and everything who comes to us. We have to assess their allegations, the evidence that they.
Does it
that they-
concern the same individual?
I cannot
same-
disclose for the moment. I hope you
Okay.
understand.
Well, I tried.
cannot disclose
Well,
for the
thank
moment.
you so much, attorney, and kudos to you for taking this pro bono.
Maraming salamat.
Maraming
po.
salamat po. That
Maraming
was
salamat.
attorney Nico Robert Martin.